everyone, welcome to Aaron Explains, a show where my friend Aaron explains something to me, and today you're not really explaining something.
Not really.
You're going to be telling us about...
I'm going to because I think it's important. I know that this is a small channel, but I think that...
What are you talking about? We got tens of viewers.
But I just think it's important to talk a little bit about Hurricane Melissa and its impact on Jamaica.
Right. Okay.
And the wider Caribbean.
Okay. Yeah, because that was a devastating storm, and I've been seeing there's like sharks in the streets of Kingston.
No.
That's not true?
That was AI.
That was AI.
AI videos. And it's part of maybe something that I found a little bit frustrating about the storm. As the storm was moving towards the island, I mean, I lived in Kingston. I have many friends that I care deeply about in the city and in other parts of the island as well, and obviously who have family in other parts of the island. And it was very unclear where the hurricane was going to make landfall.
Right.
It ended up on the western part of the island, which then damaged sort of the breadbasket of the country,
Right.
also very rural.
But that wasn't clear until the last
That
few
was not
hours
clear,
before
and it also
made landfall.
damaged significant amounts of tourist infrastructure, which
Along the northwest
along the
coast,
north
yeah.
coast.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But as all of this information was coming in, you know, we live in a world where we're supposed to be connected all the time. And
Can you hear me now?
A friend in Jamaica sent me some links to some live webcams, which were interesting to a certain extent, but they went down very, very quickly as the hurricane came close. And then in the aftermath, there were these videos that came out of sharks in the streets with images of other disasters that had just been kind of edited together, put up on Instagram, put up on TikTok, on all of these different social media sites. And the AI slopification of the aftermath of a hurricane was not just frightening, but it was, I think, an impediment to finding out what was actually happening.
Right.
And then having to rely on YouTubers who, you know, storm chasing YouTubers
in order to find out what was going on.
To find out what was actually happening on the ground. And because the island's cell phone service, it's quite good, but there's a company called Digicel that has a pretty strong monopoly, and they were unable to deal with the need for communication as the storm came closer and then started going across the island. And
and then naturally towers are getting taken out anyways. Nobody's going to be able to prevent that.
And so Starlink came to the rescue and made it possible for people to get in touch in certain cases. And it just kind of demonstrates to you just how much power people have. This person being Elon Musk, you know, in terms of being able to...
Who's also one of the main drivers behind AI.
Yes, behind AI and you know, and...
So he's given a little and taketh a little...
Yeah, at the same time. So yes, thankfully, everyone that I know is safe, but that doesn't mean that there isn't an impact. You know, people...
they're talking about generational impacts here.
Exactly. I mean, the amount of damage is just completely incomprehensible. You know, you see these pictures of like drone footage, and it's I've been to most of these places, and it's just you can't even recognize them. And so immediately afterwards, all of the news, of course. Did you watch any of the news?
I did.
And what did you see on the news?
So a lot of Canadians on my Canadian news.
Yes, yes. It's
Canadians in Jamaica.
Yes.
Everywhere they were hiding, they were finding them to get their opinion on what had happened.
Yes.
I didn't hear from a lot of Jamaicans.
No. And
I think through The Guardian, I managed to find things from the Prime Minister and very official statements, but the average Jamaican and what they went through, I wasn't hearing about that.
No, and I feel that that's another problem with the way, Canadian news, absolutely, definitely, but most news services work is sort of always looking for like that angle, the Canadian angle, the national angle. And so finding tourists and then that also, I think, is an issue with the impact of the hurricane, that we also saw this kind of tension between tourists and hotels and resorts and all of this kind of thing, being very frustrated. And
a lot of ugly stories of people complaining about, why weren't you better prepared for this? Why don't you have, why isn't the spa open?
So why can't we leave when y'all fucking feeding us pastries for breakfast and we still had to pay full price to stay here? Like, come on. So what are y'all doing for gas? You all knew this storm was coming, right? So you gonna give us bag lunches, bag breakfast, some pastries? That's so disrespectful.
And as someone who has thought about this, I wrote a academic article with my friend and colleague Moji Anderson at the University of the West Indies on brand Jamaica and the way that Jamaica sells itself as in terms of tourism, and how the necessity of creating itself as this tourist destination, what that does in terms of a relationship between the country and the rest of the world, tourists and locals, and the dynamic that this idea of creating a brand having to do with Jamaica, which is...
It's all about being relaxed and taking it easy.
No problem.
Yes, no problem.
All of this kind of thing is incredibly problematic.
And apparently these tourists expected that brand to continue after 300 mile per hour winds had decimated Montego Bay.
Yes. But I think that it's important to look at like the history of tourism in the Caribbean, tourism in general, but speaking specifically about the Caribbean.
Because my first thought when I saw these people complaining was, why on earth would you go to Jamaica at this time of year in storm season?
Because it's less expensive.
Right.
And that's the fundamental truth about it, is that you can get discounted tickets, discounted packages, all of this kind of thing.
Because it's the off season.
Because it's the off season. But even more, if you take a couple steps back and you think of, okay, initially tourism was for incredibly rich people. 150 years ago, the only people who were traveling anywhere were people with huge amounts of money.
Right.
But then...
Well, not even that. 50, 60, 70 years
70
ago.
years
maybe,
ago.
In the 50s.
Yes, yeah. But then
a vacation for you was to go to the beach, maybe, but you're within country. Nobody's getting on a plane unless they've got lots of money.
Yes, but then post-World War II, the development of air travel, cut-rate air travel into the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the development of all-inclusive resorts, package vacations, sandals, etc., which is a Jamaican brand. Creating this opportunity for people who were middle class to be able to access these kinds of opportunities, these kinds of vacations. And so what you end up with is the selling of this experience to people who could otherwise not afford it outside of this particular time of year. And there's this dynamic that exists. And yes, is tourism a form of neocolonialism? It absolutely is. But in our wider capitalist system, what is set up is this dynamic where you have people who are working and unable to, say, take any other trip other than this, like a cut rate package vacation.
Which they still have to save up
which
probably
are
all
still
year
saving
long.
For this kind of thing.
Maybe years to go on this.
Yes, yeah.
So there's a lot riding. Their expectations are pretty high. And
exactly. And so then there they are. They've come. There is this storm, and the infrastructure is just not there because the infrastructure has been built for a specific purpose. And it's not really been built to be to serve the citizens of Jamaica.
Right.
It's built to serve the tourist industry, and not going to get
and
too much
generate
into
income, which is then that's what supposedly is supposed to
except
serve
for
the people
the fact,
of Jamaica.
except for the fact that many of these hotels are owned by foreign entities.
Right.
By
not directly from the hotels, but there's surrounding businesses that are able.
I mean, and that's the
to
thing.
make
Like,
money.
I mean, and obviously, tourism is an important industry to Jamaica.
Oh, it's huge, and that's again
it will
why this
continue.
impact has been so devastating. Because it's a devastation to, like you said, the food, where they get their food from, and also their main source of income for the island.
Yes, and if you're watching this and interested in learning a bit more about this, there's an excellent movie from 2001, director Stephanie Black, called Life and Debt. It uses the language from Jamaica Kincaid's book, A Small Place, which is about this dynamic of tourist and local, and kind of shows through documentary approach how and why this dynamic exists, using Jamaica as like the object lesson.
Right.
It's from 2001, so it's a little bit dated, but it's still, I think, is a really powerful film to demonstrate that. And so here we are, as folks in Canada. I mean, yes, I have a connection to Jamaica.
Well, you lived there for
yes,
for
and so I have that, but I think that we all who live in the so-called global north have a connection to everybody else because of the issue of climate change, because of the fact that the type of energy usage that we are engaging in countries like Canada, the United States, the UK, wherever, all of Europe,
France, Germany,
whatever. all of this is having a huge impact on these types of storms. The growth of these storms.
It's warming the ocean, which is growing the storms, which are just going to get worse and worse and more devastating.
Yes. And it's not just about, so it shouldn't be just about someone who has like a direct connection to folks, whether it's familial, whether it's someone like me who spent time there and who loves the place and the people. It should be everyone who is donating to relief efforts. And, and obviously in any kind of situation like this, there are scammers, etc.
Right.
But there are a range of totally and completely reputable organizations. We're going to link them below.
I was going to say, who are they?
Yes, we're going to link them below. But I'm going to speak specifically to Canada. And also I'm going to speak to places where you can donate money. I know that there are places that are taking in objects and like food and etc. However, given that Canada is so far away in the expense of shipping these things, donating to certain organizations is probably the best plan if you have cash. And one of those is Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor is a Jamaican-based organization. They have a Canadian arm, and so you can donate through that. You can donate to the World Food Program. You can donate to the World Central Kitchen. You can donate through the Jamaican government has a website that you can donate towards. I'm saying these things because these are access to Canadians. There are locally based places that are accepting donations, but as always, as someone who's spent a little bit of time over the past 20 years working in international development, money is always the best thing.
Right.
But
everybody always needs money.
Everybody always needs money, and the money that is going to be needed to rebuild Jamaica, and also keep in mind that this hurricane impacted Haiti and Cuba as well. And we're going to keep on hearing about hurricanes.
Yeah, this is not going to be. This is not a storm once of a century. These are now storms.
Last year was Hurricane Beryl.
Exactly. These are now storms every year, every couple of years.
Yes.
You're lucky if you get a year off.
Exactly.
And I should say, we have a bunch of viewers in the U.S. and in Europe as well. And I know some of the charities you just mentioned would be applicable there, like World Central Kitchen.
Yes, exactly. And
like
we can throw some things for Americans. I mean, the American Friends of Jamaica is an amazing organization. I have a dear friend who is really involved in the relief effort with American Friends of Jamaica, and they are really actively involved in getting into communities right now, and they've been posting videos of the work that they're doing.
Okay. No sharks.
No sharks.
Excellent.
No sharks.
Excellent.
There's just people who, are really, really desperate because, the as I said initially, the infrastructure is just not there.
Their homes are gone. The roads are gone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Land has been changed. The shape of land has been
exactly. And this is going to take a long time. But Jamaica is an amazing place. It's I feel lucky to have spent a number of years living there, and I wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for my time in Jamaica and for all of the wonderful people that I met. So please donate and be generous.
Yeah. Help these people out. We owe them that much at least.
Exactly.
If we're going to have our AI data centers. And
oh, jeez.
Fucking what else needs
it's also not just
energy.
and the last thing we'll say, it's also not just about individuals. It's also about us. Even though I know that it's tough to fight against the government, but it's also not just about individuals. It's about we have to change how we deal with energy, and we have to stop climate change.
If we were all phoning our local MPs, whatever, if we were all writing letters, they would actually have to address the issue. They're only able to ignore these things as long as they think we don't care that much. So
we need
hold them to account.
And we need to keep caring.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold them to account. Okay. Well, that explains it? I don't know. It does something.
Hopefully.
It gives us hope that there's something we could do to help after this horrific tragedy.
We have a political duty to hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next time.